Sarah Johnson was gazing out of the window of a skyscraper in Manhattan. Having just turned 40, her eyes reflected a melancholic expression, contrasting with the hustle and bustle of New York. Her life was one many people envied. She had succeeded in the marketing industry and was thriving as an executive at a top advertising agency. However, deep within, Sarah always felt something was missing: a warm, loving family she had longed for since childhood. Sarah's upbringing was far from smooth. Born in a small town in Connecticut, she lost her mother to cancer at the age of 10. Her father, George, was a successful banker on Wall Street, but after his wife's death, he immersed himself in work, barely taking care of Sarah and her younger brother, Michael, who was 4 years her junior. "Why did you have to leave us, Mom?" Young Sarah would cry night after night, clutching her mother's photograph. The only comfort she found was in a luxurious watch her mother had left her, a custom piece from a super premium brand, engraved with "My dear Sarah, always with you." Sarah was forced to mature early. After school, she would handle shopping, cooking, and laundry, caring for her young brother. She had little time to play with friends, and even weekends were consumed by chores. "Sarah, can you help me with my homework?" Michael would ask sweetly. "Sure, but first we need to prepare dinner." She would respond with a smile. During those days, her mother's watch was her emotional support. In tough and sad moments, holding the watch tight to her chest would bring her mother's gentle smile to mind, giving her courage. She wore this watch during her university entrance exams and job interviews. "Mom, watch over me? I'll do my best." Sarah's efforts paid off, and she was admitted to the prestigious Yale University. There, she became fascinated with the world of marketing. After graduating, she moved to New York and secured a job at an advertising agency. Her talent and hard work quickly made her a notable figure in the industry. At the age of 30, Sarah met Tom. He was an aspiring musician with a charming smile, whom she met after a live performance at a bar. "Your eyes are beautiful, like a starry sky," Tom said, instantly falling for her. Sarah was drawn to Tom's brightness and kindness, particularly impressed by his passionate talks about his sister Jessica. "My sister is amazing, really. She's an actress on Broadway. I'll introduce you to her someday." As Sarah's relationship with Tom progressed, she began to believe that the ideal family she had long dreamed of might finally become a reality. She hoped that Tom's love for his family would extend to their new family as well. The wedding was held on the rooftop of a hotel overlooking Central Park. With the shining Manhattan skyline as a backdrop, Sarah was radiant in her pure white wedding dress. "I, Sarah, take you, Tom, to be my husband, to love and to cherish, in sickness and in health, in wealth and in poverty, and to walk together forever." The guests shed tears of emotion at Sarah's vows. However, unbeknownst to everyone, this happy moment was also the beginning of upcoming trials. Initially, married life went smoothly. Sarah struggled to balance work and home, while Tom continued his music career and worked part-time. A year after their marriage, they were blessed with a boy. Named Ethan, he became a new light of hope for Sarah. "Hey Tom, doesn't Ethan look just like us?" Sarah smiled happily while holding the newborn baby. "Yeah, really. But his eyes resemble yours. He'll surely become a smart kid," Tom replied proudly. However, with Ethan's birth, cracks gradually began to appear in their relationship. Tom was not active in parenting, leaving all the nighttime feedings and diaper changes to Sarah. Yet Sarah did not complain. From her own childhood experiences, she knew how crucial the presence of both parents was for a child. "It's okay, Ethan. Mommy is here," Sarah whispered gently as she soothed the crying Ethan at night. Meanwhile, Tom remained immersed in his music, and his time at home gradually decreased. It became clear that he was spending most of the time he was away at home with his sister, Jessica. "Sorry, Sarah. Jessica got a new role today. I have to celebrate with her," Tom would say. "But today is Ethan's parents' day in kindergarten. You promised," Sarah reminded him. "Oh, that. I'm sorry. But Jessica needs me. You understand, right?" Such exchanges became increasingly frequent. Sarah began to worry about Tom's unusual obsession with his sister, Jessica. She felt very disappointed by Tom's attitude of prioritizing his sister over his own family. However, Sarah maintained a facade of calmness. For Ethan's sake, she wanted to protect her family at all costs. She did not want her son to experience the loneliness of a single-parent family that she had endured. One day, Sarah faced a shocking incident. Returning from work, she opened the drawer of her dresser as usual. The precious watch, a keepsake from her mother, was missing. "That's strange. It should have been here." Sarah searched the entire room, but the watch was nowhere to be found. Anxiety and panic gripped her heart. At that moment, she heard the front door open. "Tom, I'm home." "Hey, do you know where my watch is? I can't find it." Tom hesitated for a moment before dropping a bombshell. "Oh, that. I gave it to Jessica. She wanted it." Sarah couldn't believe her ears. "What? Are you joking?" "That watch is a keepsake from my mother. You should know that." "I know. But Jessica really wanted it. Plus, a beauty like her wearing it would make your mother happy too." Sarah was at a loss for words. Anger and sorrow welled up inside her. How could you? How could you do such a thing? You know how important that watch is to me. Stop nagging. It's just a watch." Tom retorted irritably. "It's not just a watch. It's. Unable to hold back her tears, Sarah's voice trembled. "Enough already. If you're going to nag about it, divorce is also an option." Tom's words were cold, deeply wounding Sarah's heart. In that moment, Sarah resolved that she would no longer endure the pain. For her and her son's happiness, she had to take action. The next day, Sarah took Ethan and returned to her childhood home. Her father, George, seemed to instantly sense that something was wrong just by looking at her expression. "Sarah, are you okay?" "What happened?" Through tears, Sarah explained the situation. George sighed and embraced his daughter gently. "I didn't realize how much you were struggling. I won't let you be alone again." Comforted by her father's words, Sarah shed tears of relief. She felt the complex emotions she had harbored towards her father for years slowly beginning to dissolve. Then, unexpected help appeared: her younger brother, Michael. He had become a successful lawyer. "Sis, I'll support you with everything I've got. We'll make Tom take legal responsibility." Grateful for Michael's words, Sarah's heart was filled with appreciation. The brother she had cared for since childhood was now ready to protect her. She felt the strength of her family bonds anew. A month later, an unexpected call came from Jessica. "Sarah, your watch caused my engagement to be broken off." Jessica's voice trembled with anger. Sarah listened calmly. Jessica explained that she had worn Sarah's watch to meet her fiancé's parents. Her fiancé's father, the CEO of a major company, was shocked upon seeing the watch. "This watch was a gift I gave to an amazing woman who worked under me. She passed away from an illness, but I heard it was passed on to her daughter. There's no way you should have it. Panicked, Jessica lied. I got this from my brother's wife. However, the CEO didn't believe her. He contacted Sarah directly to confirm the truth, and the real story was revealed. I cannot let my son marry a woman who would take a precious keepsake from her own brother's wife. Thus, Jessica's engagement was broken off. Not only that, but she began to experience strange occurrences. Ever since I started wearing that watch, I've almost been in car accidents and I keep having nightmares. It's like I'm cursed. I'm returning it. I never want to be near it again. Sarah received the watch with mixed feelings. Relieved to have her mother's keepsake back, she was unsure how to move forward after everything that had happened. It was then that Tom suddenly appeared. "Sarah, if you want a divorce, you'll have to pay alimony, and you'll need to leave the apartment as well." Sarah replied calmly. "Tom, there's no need for us to discuss this anymore. From now on, we'll communicate through lawyers." Tom looked at Michael, surprised. "Aren't you my wife's little brother, Michael?" Michael responded firmly. "Mr. Tom, from now on, I will represent Sarah as her lawyer. Your actions are clearly unjust and could be legally challenged." Tom was visibly shaken. "Just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean you can act all high and mighty. I don't want a divorce. Without mutual consent, it can't happen." Michael remained composed. "Ever since getting married, Sarah has been supporting the household financially. You haven't cooperated with parenting and have been financially dependent on her. Moreover, you disposed of her precious keepsake without permission. These actions are valid grounds for divorce." Tom's demeanor began to soften as his panic became apparent. "Sarah, the divorce is just a joke, right? I was wrong. Forgive me. Let's try again, for Ethan's sake." Sarah responded firmly. "It's too late, Tom. I can't trust you anymore. I'm getting a divorce. I will raise Ethan." Later, through mediation in court, Sarah was able to officially divorce Tom. The division of property and child support were granted, and the ownership of the apartment was confirmed to belong to Sarah. Initially, Tom was reluctant to make the payments, but when Michael showed a readiness to take legal action, Tom reluctantly complied. After the divorce, Sarah started a new chapter in her life. She and Ethan lived in a skyscraper in Manhattan, juggling work and parenting. One day, she took Ethan to the park on a pleasant autumn afternoon. "Mom, push the swing," Ethan exclaimed joyfully. Sarah stood behind her son and gently started pushing the swing. Ethan's laughter filled the park. Higher, higher. As Sarah responded to her son's request and looked up at the sky, white clouds floated across the blue sky. Her mother's face came to mind. "Mom, are you watching?" "I'm doing my best." At that moment, Sarah looked at her watch. It was the keepsake from her mother. The words engraved on the back still warmed her heart. "My dear Sarah, always with you." Sarah smiled. Indeed, her mother was still with her, and she was with Ethan. The love passed down through generations. That was the true bond of family Sarah felt. Meanwhile, life became difficult for Tom and Jessica. To pay for the property division and child support, Tom had borrowed from several financial institutions. Chased by repayments, he had to work day and night. Dreams of a music career had become a thing of the distant past. Jessica, too, was burdened by a substantial debt, a consequence of her lavish lifestyle. Her jobs on Broadway had dwindled, and she had started working as a showgirl in nightclubs. Now, the two of them were living together in an old apartment in Brooklyn. Their former glory had faded, and they were constantly chased by the demands of daily life. "Why has it come to this?" Tom murmured, holding his head in his hands in the cramped room of their cheap apartment. While removing her makeup, Jessica responded with a bitter expression. "If it weren't for that watch." A curse, of all things, coming from that woman. "Enough, Jessica. Stop blaming Sarah. We brought this upon ourselves," Tom said. Jessica fell silent at Tom's words. Deep down, they both understood that their own actions had led to these consequences. Meanwhile, Sarah's life had entered a new phase. After the divorce, she put even more effort into her work. Her efforts paid off, and she was promoted to vice president of the advertising agency. Her income increased significantly, allowing her to provide a better education for Ethan. Her father, George, was also fully supporting Sarah's life while watching over his grandson's growth. On weekends, George would take care of Ethan, giving Sarah some time to rest. "Thank you so much, Dad, for taking care of Ethan." Sarah expressed her gratitude. George smiled gently. "It's okay, Sarah. I couldn't be there for you kids back then, so let me support you as much as I can now." Feeling the family bond strengthening over time, Sarah savored her happiness. One day, Sarah had an unexpected encounter. At a meeting for an advertising campaign at a client's company, she met Paul Brown, who was also serving as a vice president. Paul, a man of Sarah's age, was known for his gentle nature and keen insight. They became close through work and eventually started having personal conversations. "You're an amazing mother. Balancing work and parenting must be tough, right?" Paul expressed his respect for Sarah's way of life. Sarah smiled in response. "Yes, it's tough. But I manage because of my son, and I have support from my family. That's wonderful. I'm also raising a daughter alone. I lost my wife 5 years ago." Sarah felt a connection after hearing Paul's words. They began to share their experiences and challenges as single parents. Over time, Sarah and Paul's relationship deepened. They introduced their children to each other, and sometimes spent holidays together. Ethan came to affectionately call Paul Uncle Paul, and Paul's daughter Emily grew fond of Sarah. "Mom, it's fun playing with Uncle Paul and Emily," Ethan said joyfully. Seeing her son smile, Sarah felt a warmth in her heart. She sensed a new family dynamic gradually taking shape. On Sarah's 45th birthday, Paul proposed to her. "Sarah, meeting you brought joy back into my life. Could we walk this life together from here on out?" With tears in her eyes, Sarah replied, "Yes, Paul. I feel the same." Their wedding was a small party attended only by family and close friends. Ethan and Emily walking with bouquets warmed the hearts of all the attendees. Sarah wore her mother's keepsake watch. During the ceremony, she looked at the watch and whispered in her heart, "Mom, I finally found it. True happiness." After the wedding, Sarah and Paul started their lives together as a new family with their children. There were initial adjustments, but with mutual care and the children's adaptability, they gradually built a stable home. Ethan became a middle schooler, and Emily was in her upper years of elementary school. The two got along like siblings. "Mom, I want to be a lawyer in the future. Like Uncle Michael, I want to help people who are in trouble." Seeing Ethan talk about his dreams, Sarah felt a deep love. Meanwhile, Emily had begun to blossom with her artistic talent. "Mom, Sarah, look. I drew a picture of our family." In the picture Emily had drawn, Sarah, Paul, Ethan, and herself, depicted with smiling faces. Seeing the picture, Sarah shed tears of happiness. Time passed, and when Sarah turned 50, she received unexpected news. Tom had been hospitalized with cirrhosis. "Sarah, it seems Tom's condition isn't good. Are you planning to visit him?" her friend Jennifer asked. Sarah thought for a while. The past with Tom had been painful, but he was Ethan's biological father. Over time, the anger in Sarah's heart had softened. "Ethan, your dad's been hospitalized. Do you want to go see him?" Sarah asked her son. Ethan appeared a bit perplexed, but answered, "Yeah, let's go." When they visited Tom in the hospital, Sarah was shocked by his drastically changed appearance. His former brightness had faded, and he lay there, emaciated. "Sarah." "Ethan." "Did you come to see me?" Tom asked in a weak voice. "Yes, we came. How are you? Feeling a bit better?" Sarah asked gently. "Not bad." "Thank you." Tom then looked at Ethan. "Hey, you've grown a lot. You're a fine young man now." Ethan replied with a bit of embarrassment. "Yeah, I'm in middle school now." For a while after that, the three of them engaged in a quiet conversation. They avoided discussing the past and talked about Ethan's current situation and Tom's health. As they were leaving, Tom said to Sarah, "Sarah, I'm truly sorry. Really sorry." Tom apologized. Sarah felt the long-held emotions quietly dissolve. "It's okay, Tom. Just rest now." As she left the hospital, Sarah was enveloped in complex emotions. The wounds of the past hadn't fully healed, but she recognized the importance of forgiveness. That night, back at home, she shared everything with Paul. "Sarah, you are a truly strong woman. You've overcome your past and are living looking forward. I'm proud of you," Paul said as he hugged her gently. In Paul's arms, Sarah felt a sense of security and reflected on her life. She had endured hardships, but she had overcome them to reach where she was now. And her current happiness was a result of all her past experiences. Months later, Tom passed away. Sarah and Ethan attended his funeral. Jessica was not there. After the funeral, Sarah looked at her mother's keepsake watch. The hands of the clock continued to mark time steadfastly. Life moves forward just like this watch. Sarah carefully put away the watch. It was no longer a reminder of painful memories, but a precious entity that had witnessed her life's journey. Time passed, and Ethan became a college student. Influenced by Michael, he was studying law and aiming to become a lawyer. Emily was in high school, further honing her artistic talents. Sarah was nearing 60 and had become the CEO of an advertising agency, respected in the industry. One day, Sarah was in her office talking to a young female employee. "I'm struggling with balancing work and parenting," the employee confided. Sarah smiled gently. "It's okay. I've been through the same thing. Let's find a good solution together." At that moment, Sarah reflected on her life's journey. She had overcome hardships and difficulties, and now she was in a position to help others. Her experiences were now empowering many people. Leaving the office, Sarah walked through the streets of Manhattan. The skyline, filled with towering buildings, had not changed in 30 years. However, her life had changed significantly. When she got home, Paul greeted her with a warm smile. "Welcome back, Sarah. How was your day?" Sarah responded happily. "It was a very fulfilling day. How about you?" The two began preparing dinner while sharing their day's events. Soon, Ethan and Emily returned home, and the family's time together began. "Mom, I got an internship," Ethan reported excitedly. "I won a prize in an art competition." Emily was also happy. As Sarah proudly watched her children's growth, she suddenly remembered her mother. She quietly stood up and took out her mother's keepsake watch. "Ethan, Emily, have I ever told you about this watch?" The children looked at the watch with interest. "This was my mother's, your grandmother's keepsake. It's something precious that has watched over me for a long time." Sarah read the words engraved on the back of the watch. "My dear Sarah, always with you. Grandma was always watching over Mom, wasn't she?" Ethan said, moved. Emily's eyes sparkled as she added, "Such beautiful words. I want to be someone who can keep caring for loved ones like that too." Paul placed his hand on Sarah's shoulder and gently said, "Your mother would be so proud. You've grown into such a wonderful woman." Sarah smiled through her tears. Her life had not been smooth, but now she was truly happy. All the past pains and sorrows had strengthened her and built the foundation of her current happiness. And her mother's love had always guided her. Sarah looked around at her family. Her loving husband, her dependable son who had grown so much, her talented daughter, and the presence of her mother, still beside her. "Mom, I am happy. I finally found the warmth of a true family."